And good evening and welcome to a very special edition of this is the debut of the new Ralph Report Pittsburgh edition. My name is Ralph Williams. I am the host of the Ralph Report Pittsburgh edition. And yeah, what do you want to talk about? And let me talk to you tonight. I am the revolutionary. I am the visionary. I am Ralph Williams. And acknowledge me. All right. Tonight, we have a very special edition of the Ralph Report Pittsburgh edition. It's really sad that we had to make this our debut edition. But I'm going to be coming on more and more as the months progress here. The reason I do these Ralph Reports, I would love to do a lot more of them, but my time constraint with different things going on with RW Media Productions, I haven't had the time to really focus on doing a lot more. But I'm trying to do so. And I have the Ralph Report Exposed. That's going to be the new Ralph Report. That's coming real soon, too, as well. I'll let you know when that comes up. Just stay tuned here to my social media platforms as well. Also, I want to thank everyone for the 40K viewers who viewed my Ralph Report from June 12th. I want to thank you for that. All right, but what puzzles me is I got 40,000 views for that, but I don't have 40,000 subscribers, and I don't have 40,000 followers on YouTube or on Twitch, Twitter X, or whatever the heck. Yeah, Twitter X, and all that other stuff. All right, so I'm hoping that comes up real soon here. All right, no name. Yes, grab the popcorn, grab the sodas. Yes, that was one of my old things from back in the day. Thank you, no name. There you go. But tonight, we're not here to talk about that tonight. And I'm not here tonight to say my normal stuff about Pittsburgh and about what's going wrong with the city and all that stuff tonight. Tonight's a special show, and it's sad that our debut show of the Ralph Report Pittsburgh edition had to happen tonight like this. I'm here tonight to talk about my good friend, a good friend of mine, former colleague, former media competitor. We were on competing stations at one time. Back in the day when Christian radio was very strong in Pittsburgh. I mean, it's strong still, but it's not as strong music-wise as it once was. Okay. Greg McAtee. Greg was one great person who was Christian-oriented and a family man. He did his job at KDK Radio. Okay. I, unfortunately, am not able to get hired at KDK. I don't know what I've done to them. Okay, that has but I'm not going to go there tonight because that's not what this is about tonight. But he worked at KDK Radio. He was traffic reporter. He worked for all the Odyssey stations, Whammo, 100.7, and a few of the other stations as well over the years. He's also been, he worked for Westwood One. And in 1999, he called me up and he asked me if I wanted to be a sports reporter on the which is still a Christian station, but they're kind of like they slide under the radar. WWNL 1080 AM. Okay, 1080 AM back in the day used to be WEEP AM. They used to play oldies music. They couldn't compete with 3WS, so they shut down and then made it into the WWNL. And I would come on in the mornings on his morning show for, I think he was there for about maybe a month, 2 months, maybe 3. And I would come on, and I drove a cab at the time, and I came on right from my cab and did sports reports. Okay. At the time in 1999, I had a show on WEDO 810 AM, the Sports Talk with Ralph Williams show. And I also had a TV show on PCTV, Channel 21, in the former PCTV in Pittsburgh, which I'm not going to go into and frustrate myself tonight with that. Okay. Those of you who live in Pittsburgh know what happened there. All right. So Greg hired me to do that. And then Greg left to move on to other pastures. I was offered a job by WWNL. I told them I would do it for X amount of money. They wanted to pay me. They wanted to undercut me, and I told them no. Maybe I should have took that job. I don't know. There's a couple broadcasting jobs that I regret not taking. But that's beside the point. All right. Again, we're not really, I don't want to indulge into that tonight. Maybe someday I'll do a show and I'll indulge into everything about that. I'm also going to do a special show on here about my cab, my days of driving a cab. Everybody loves to hear my cab stories. Or even my 35 years of customer service stories. I did a special show with my wife on 1250 that I have. Then once in a while I play it. Her and I did a show about our years in customer service. Her 32, my 35. So anyway, Greg McAtee, this is for you tonight. And I wish you, rest in peace. My condolences to his family. My condolences to, and sorry to hear that KDK is going to lose a really good, prominent traffic announcer in Greg McAtee. Greg McAtee also did a traffic show with my late friend Neil Spence, who also is up in heaven. All my old friends from broadcasting are all up in heaven with the Lord. That's why I'm where I am now, because they're all up there and not here to get me in these places. Okay. So, but Greg McAtee, man, I'll see you when I get up there. But you were one great broadcaster, good family man, and you were a great church-going person, Christian person. You stuck with it for a long time, and you and I were competitors. I worked for WPLW radio. You worked for WPIT. You did work for WPLW before I got there as the morning guy, and so. We were competitors at one time, and then we became colleagues. And I will say this, that, you called and you told me about what was going on at WPLW when I got there, and I appreciated that. You helped me out through that time when I was in Christian radio, and I just got started. I appreciate that as well. I was music director at WPLW, and you called me up and you had heard that we were in the national circuit on the list for sponsored radio stations and all that stuff. I tried when I worked at WPLW to bring some spark to the station, do some different things, but I was shot down by management. So anyway, one thing I did do right though at WPLW was I competed with WPIT when they were on 101.5 FM, which is now Word, which is owned by Salem Broadcasting Media, who now lets me do my talk shows on 1250 AM The Answer and 92.5 on FM dial. to make up for when they fired me in 1991 or 92 it was, I believe, from WKPA radio out in New Kensington. First day on the job. I was supposed to work the noon to 6 shift. First day on the job, I get there and there's a security guard at the bottom of the steps, the clipboard in his hand. So what's your name? I gave him my name. I said, why do you need to know what's going on with that new security protocol? He said, no, go up. We had lockers. He said, go up and clear out your locker and you're fired. Everybody's been fired. And that was when Word took over, Salem Media. I forget what it was. It might have still been Salem at the time. But Salem made it up to me now. And I appreciate them doing that. So that's a long time ago. We'll let that go. But and then, at one time I was working 2 stations. I was at WPLW and at WKPA in New Kensington. But like I said, both radio jobs. I ended up working. A friend of mine got me in a real nice job and good money at a steel plant down in Lawrenceville, and I made good money down there, and I had to get out for a little while. Money wasn't there, but I had some opportunities that I turned down that probably I should have took. I had an opportunity to get my foot in the door once at a broadcasting job where driving the van or driving the promotions truck. Nah, I want to be on the air. I could have been a board op at WJAS back when Jack Bogan and Billy Cardilli and Jack, or what the heck was his name, Jack Hyatt or whatever, John Hyatt or whatever his name was all them guys, all them folks were there. I could have been a board op, maybe perhaps been working there now. I turned that down. I want to be on the air. I was on the air, all right. Not where I wanted to be, though. Yeah. Anyway, Greg, this is for you tonight. And I'll be dedicating next week my radio shows to Greg. And it's sad to see you go, man. But I'll see you when I get up there. And just keep it going. And now you're going to be working with the Lord. And so until next time, I'm going to go into some announcements here a little bit. Don't forget the Saturday of Ralph coming up this weekend. We start at 7 a.m. on 93.5 The Beach, the Ralph Williams Show. With me, Ralph Williams, you're revolutionary, you're visionary. Acknowledge me. You will 93.5 The Beach, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. the Ralph Williams Show. And then 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. is the Ralph Williams Show on 12:50 a.m. The Answer, 92.5 on the FM dial. All right, that's 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. On Saturday as well, on 12:50 a.m. The Answer, 92.5 on the FM dial also. And then don't forget at 10 a.m. our new show, the Saturday Sports Blast Show with me, Ralph Williams, Pensman Sports, Brian Pettit, Leo Haggerty. Tomorrow, Pensman will not be joining us at 10 a.m. Tomorrow, we're live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, X, and the Kick platforms as well, the Kick Network. And tomorrow, our guest will be Mike Sisak from Amped Up Sports. He'll be here to talk with us about World Cup and some other sports things as well. He'll be joining us for a half hour tomorrow by phone. So tune in tomorrow for our special guest, Mike Sisak from Amped Up Sports as well. And also Leo Haggerty is also from Amped Up Sports as well. So I just want to let you know about that one as well. So, but anyway, let me get into something else here. I'm trying to get all of any Facebook comments I can find here. That's what I'm trying to work on right now. Let me see if I see any Facebook comments. All right, we don't have any at this time, but we're live on Facebook as well. We're also live on YouTube, Twitter, X, Twitch platforms, and the Kick Network. And also don't forget tomorrow, last but not least, I never forget about my friends here. Also, we're Ralph Williams. I am, again, the revolutionary, the visionary. I am Ralph Williams, along with my co-host, Smoking Jim Frazier, Claudia Rosano, Luther Dupree, and we are the Sports Corner Radio Show on 1250 The Answer, 92.5 on the FM dial, and theanswerpgh.com. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow. Our guest, Dr. Karen Kelly, who is a doctor at Duquesne University, and she teaches about different things in sports. She is a inspirational person who has come up with some different types of to help kids, youth get into sports, and also she's inspired to get youth off the streets and no crime and all that. So she does a lot of that stuff. Been an activist for many years. Dr. Karen Kelly will join us tomorrow. She's also involved in sports stuff as well. So she's a friend of Smoking Jim Frazier and Claudia Rosano. So she'll be on with us tomorrow at 2 o'clock, 2 to 3 p.m. So don't forget to tune into that. And then Sunday, the Ralph Williams Show, Sunday edition with Tony Moreno, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. as well. So don't forget to tune into that. I'm Ralph Williams. This has been the Ralph Report Pittsburgh edition. Sadly, it had to be this way tonight for our debut show of the Pittsburgh edition. But I wanted to do this tonight in honor of Greg McEntee. Greg, I'll see you when I get there. But it was good. You're good. You were a good friend. Helped me out back in the day. We always kept in touch, and through social media and some other platforms, and over the years. And you're going to be missed here in Pittsburgh. Believe me, you are. All right. Well, you will be missed in Pittsburgh. I live in Berlin, Maryland now, but anyway, you're going to be missed in Pittsburgh anyway. Remember, Bill Cowher once said, "You might leave Pittsburgh, but your heart's still there." So I just want to let everyone know that as well. Even though I left Pittsburgh for some reasons beyond purpose, which you wouldn't understand anyway. So all right. Have yourself a great one, and please, by all means, be safe. Thank you.